get started. We only have 15 minutes, so let's get at it.
Let's jump right in.
Right. Let's talk about IPO. How was it going from private market to public market, where it's you're under scrutiny every single quarter by the investors?
Yeah, look, it's truly been a journey, right? We've been around the block multiple times. This company is basically one of the few blue chip companies in crypto that's still left standing. 12 years, 13 years in the making. And finally, a couple weeks back, had the opportunity to take this company public in the United States. It definitely was a journey, right? We were trying to get this thing out there for quite some time, and then the government shut down on us for a few months. Ultimately, if you look at what this process is, it next levels of scrutiny for the business.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Good thing for BitGo, we've been operating in the financial space for quite some time. A lot of our clients are like really, really big institutional clients that demand audited financials, demand the various SOC audits that we have. So we had a lot of this prepped already. And all we basically did was, cool, all the stuff that we've been doing for quite some time, we're gonna basically port it into a public format, share it with the SEC, and voila, we're on our way there. For I was at the average private company in Silicon Valley, the average private company in digital asset. It's going to be a bit harder for them to go through this process. But for us,
why do you say that? Why do you say it's going to be harder?
Because
why was it easier or not easier?
You know, I'm not going to name any names, but there's crypto companies historically out there using QuickBooks as their financial ledger entry system, right? Accounting system. You don't use QuickBooks at this scale, right?
Not when you're going public.
Correct.
Yeah. Fair. What was the feedback in terms of, because you're in for a company,
Right.
Was this the time for infra companies to go public?
Look, we frankly, we're trailblazers in this space. If you think about the public companies in the United States, in the digital asset realm, you have a number of miners out there that's floating around for quite some time.
Fun fact, I'm going to talk about that. You've been mining in 2011, correct me if I'm wrong. 2012.
Personally, separate story.
Okay, I'll just say we're OG.
Yeah, a bunch of small miners. And of course, there's the behemoth in the room, which is Coinbase, right? Coinbase snuck through the SEC process many years back. Largest, they got through. Nobody else could get through, but Coinbase, for some reason, a few years back, got through, has been dominating the space from a PubCo perspective. And more recently, our friends at Bullish, amazing IPO, Circle did an IPO as well. But you have a couple more exchanges, Gemini, one stablecoin company, and BitGo, frankly, is the very first digital asset infrastructure company.
Is there going to be more, do you think?
I think there are going to be more companies trying to follow in our footsteps, but by being the first in that category, definitely was exciting. We had an opportunity to redefine a number of different metrics that the Wall Street analysts look at, and our performance obviously will be used as a benchmark for these future companies in the digital asset infra space.
Good. Let's talk about your recent trip that you just came back from. You said we were talking backstage about what you did.
Right. Yes. So look, I've never home. I'm on the road probably like 60-70% of all business days, working days in any given month, doing a couple tours around Asia. Even in Asia, right? The largest banks that we're talking to, you had executive management at these banks look me in the eye and say, we are all in. We believe financial assets will be tokenized. We believe financial assets will be moved on chain. Help us, right? And this is where.
Do they give you a timeline? Like, because maybe a decade, it could.
No. I think things have changed, right? Since the additional momentum that we've seen in the U.S. on the regulatory side, the additional unlocks that has happened, both on the CFTC and the SEC fronts, these regulators around the world, they follow in the footsteps of the United States, right? And the regulators in these other countries, in these Asian countries, are looking at this aggressively. The corresponding banks in these Asian countries, other countries outside the U.S., they're doing the same. Everybody understands that, like, this is inevitable. It's gonna happen. Am I gonna let my competitor go out there first and beat me to market? Or am I gonna go out and be first to market with some of these tokenized products. So super exciting times. I can tell you the banks are very much so engaged. Unlike
And we're talking about all sorts of banks, not just regionals or large ones or.
the ones that I've spoken to, we're the bigger ones. We're the bigger ones. The bigger ones.
Sure, they have names. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
When they talk about the taking things on chain,
Right.
are they just talking about the tokenization?
RWA, bonds,
Corporate assets.
equities, everything. Every single financial product that you think of, instead of it being stuck in these various old school SQL Oracle databases,
Yeah.
how do you take those assets, tokenize it, and push it onto these various blockchains?
Is there a demand for that now?
People are actively looking into it. Hence why they're pulling brands like BitGo into the equation. Because, again, we are infra, right? We help these large brands accomplish some of these goals.
So how do you? One thing that comes with the custody, the safety part of it.
Right.
How do you ensure the safety and security of all these large assets of large banks?
Look, our perspective on security is a little different than how most other custodians do security. Everybody uses the word air gapped, everybody uses the word offline. But when it comes to security and custody at BitGo, our definition of offline is actually offline. We have, ironically, physical, like bank grade vaults. When the whole building hypothetically burns down, that vault is not going anywhere.
Really?
Right? Thick steel.
Right.
To do a withdrawal from cold storage at BitGo, when you press that button, you're literally invoking teams of people to get up from their desks.
And they actually.
Go in. It's like a It's like a religious ceremony that they do inside, where they verify all sorts of different
Alarm
things.
goes off, everyone gets up, and then.
And I always like to say this, like this model, this blueprint, we fundamentally believe is the gold standard for digital asset custody, and we replicate it around the world. So these vaults not only exist in the United States, but we have vaults in Europe with our Europe GmbH entity. We have vaults in the UAE, in the desert, Singapore, everywhere. Like it's global. And what makes the US versions of it super unique is we love guns in the United States. So in addition to the vaults, you have guys with guns standing outside of vaults. That's the difference between BitGo versus everybody else. These HSMs and virtual HSMs and whatnot, these other custodians are using, guess what? Your DevOps engineer, their laptop gets phished and a hacker wanders into your AWS console. I don't care whether it's offline from Amazon's perspective. You're done, right? We're here to protect billion-dollar wallets. We're here to protect trillion-dollar wallets. That's what BitGo's for.
That's awesome. Let's talk about your past and how that comes into play in this Web3 world, right? You were at Microsoft.
Yeah.
As traditional as it gets in terms of fintech,
Yeah.
how are you bringing that into what you're doing right now?
Look, fundamentally, what makes BitGo really special and unique is the company was founded by technologist Mike Belshie, frankly, one of the godfathers of the internet, right? He's the primary author of the HTTP2 white paper, which is literally, he used Chrome or all the other browsers these days. Without that specific enhancements to the internet protocol, none of the stuff that you're using would work. So we definitely have a lot of roots in technology. So there's half the companies basically from the Google, the Microsofts, the Silicon Valleys of the world.
Right.
And then what's interesting is the other half of the company are all from Wall Street. It's a perfect marriage between Silicon Valley and Wall Street. And it's a good mixture of talent across both sides. And fundamentally, if you go all the way deep down inside of BitGo, we are still a Silicon Valley company. No, we have a Silicon Valley mentality. We are here to innovate, to push the boundaries of digital assets as technology.
Yeah, for you, that's where you're taking from Web 2, the world that you come from.
That's right.
Into Web 3.
Yep. That's right.
So it's still like a Web 2, Web 5.
I would argue we could be more crypto native as a firm, right? Like especially recently, right? If you look at the announcement that we had in December, right? Our South Dakota flagship trust company got converted into an OCC trust co. This is a federal level bank license that we were able to acquire in the United States. It's really, really hard to get. And you combine that with our public company status, it makes us literally the only publicly traded, Fed, OCC regulated bank that's fully operational for digital assets in the United States. It's a very unique status that we currently have.
That is very unique. Does that make you a M&A target then? For the
I know you probably can't talk about.
I
have to.
I'm sorry, you finally crossed that line. I should not talk about that. I cannot talk about that.
Let's talk about I think that you were really interested in AI.
Look, for those of you that haven't watched the CZ interview with Chamath, that thing that was published yesterday, I encourage you to go and watch that 1 hour and 15-minute podcast. But during that podcast, CZ brought up the fact that, down the line, every single one of us, despite how technical or not technical you are, we're going to have not 10, but hundreds, maybe even thousands of AI agents working on our behalf. Think about that, right? Like, I don't have
This would be just AI agents.
AI agents. Literally, you're able to spin up these things. Maybe this agent's responsible for handling your email. This agent's responsible for scheduling your travels. This agent is responsible for figuring out where you're going to eat and what groceries to buy. Maybe these agents are there spun up to trade your crypto portfolio, right? All these agents are going to be.
How do you trust that though?
We are literally like at the precipice of this crazy L curve that's going to happen. And my point here is how this overlaps with BitGo and crypto is one of the issues with these agents is what wallets are they going to use? How are they going to pay for some of these services? How are they going to pay each other for services? And this is where companies like BitGo and others, we're working to figure out how to adapt, evolve our technology so that it's not only useful for like regular human engineers, but also useful and accessible by AI agents.
How do you do it? I know we have only a minute.
This could be like another hour, like 1 hour podcast.
Like, what's that?
Let me put it this way, right? Like one of the things that CZ brought up that I actually disagree with. He's making a statement that AI agents won't be banked, which in a way it's kind of true. But we need to solve that, right? How do we bank the future population of AI agents?
Unbanked. That was the crypto thing, but it's just different AI agents.
Correct. We're still here to bank the unbanked, but we're going to be more inclusive, right? Right now, there's a bunch of humans who are unbanked in all sorts of countries and geographies around the world. But around the corner, there's going to be thousands, millions of AI agents that are going to be unbanked as well.
We're gonna bet.
How does a company like BitGo help solve that problem? We're thinking about it.
Okay, and that is a very interesting. Probably need an hour to talk about it. We have 20 seconds.
Sure.
Your outlook for the Bitcoin price. Talk about it, and outlook for the crypto industry where it's going.
We're not done yet.
We're not done yet.
We're not done yet. We're not done yet.
For both Bitcoin price and the industry.
Yeah, we're definitely for Bitcoin price early. We're still early. This is still the Netscape Navigator. Really, absolutely. Chrome has not been invented yet in our current time. That's right.
That's the perfect segue to end our session. But thank you, Chad, so much. That was a pleasure. Thank you so much.